Good evening, everyone. My name is Joelis Cardona, and I will be discussing the Police Academy and Field Training, which are the steps that are taken after a police recruit has gone through the hiring process and are offered employment. The Academy will teach police recruits a couple of different things. They will teach them the proper procedures, how and when to use force, how to drive a vehicle aggressively, how to make felony stops, deal with hostile and aggressive suspects. They will learn how to make arrests, document incidents, and investigate accidents. These are just some of the topics and are certainly not everything that police recruits will learn. Police recruits will also learn how to handle high powered weapons, how to administer first aid in the field, and how to drive essentially high valued vehicles and even learn different defense mechanisms. Your average police recruit will have endured about 840 hours of training that is not included field training. Maybe sometimes we'll even have way more training hours. There are three kinds of police academies: in house, regional, and state. Each police academy will have their own curriculum, which will vary from state to state and academy to academy. The traditional curriculum is called the plebe system, and it's usually defined as a model that closely parallels a military style boot camp that aims to produce well groomed and disciplined officers. That is the book definition of the plebe system. Nowadays, police academies are trying to take a more 21st century approach, which includes adding new topics to their curriculum. These topics have tended to be more difficult to discuss, as we see with things that are currently ongoing. These topics can include how to deal with different diversity issues, sexual harassment, dispute resolutions, victims awareness, technological applications, stress management, and they're also now learning what kind of demeanor they need to have in the courtroom. It is very important because police officers do sometimes have to attend different court cases and they need to learn how to act accordingly in those courtrooms. The academy will also train police recruits to have what's called a sixth sense. A sixth sense, sorry. Some people call this their gut feeling, or some people say their intuition. But it means to have a heightened sense of suspicion. It is very important that police recruits are careful when they're practicing their sixth sense because oftentimes we don't want it to seem like we are profiling someone. You definitely don't want to seem like you're profiling someone during a heated dispute or something that you are trying to de-escalate. It's very important to not confuse having a sixth sense with profiling somebody. Physical fitness is also a crucial part of the academy. Physical fitness doesn't always mean that you're the strongest person in the room or that you can lift the most weights or the heaviest or you're the heaviest. It doesn't physically mean that. Physical fitness instills the physical and mental discipline that police officers need to have. It will teach recruits how to deal with discomfort and pain during high levels of stress. For example, if you're like running after a suspect and you are so tired and you are breathing so heavy, these physical fitness tests will learn how to have endurance in times like this. And just like college, police recruits will also need to learn how to fill out paperwork correctly. Making sure that your paperwork is filled out correctly is crucial, especially in times where you are called to court and let's say that you wrote the story wrong. Not necessarily that you falsified data, but you mixed up some storylines that could hurt the case in the long run. So it's very important that paperwork is filled out correctly and accurately. This is usually why sometimes paperwork shouldn't be left on the back burner because you do tend to forget what occurs days later. After police graduates from the police academy, they will begin what's called field training. Field training is almost exactly what it sounds like. It is when the new police officer will take a more hands on approach, go into the field, learn new things. The traditional way of field training consists of three steps. The first being introduction, which is when the officer will learn the rules and procedures of the agency that they are working with. The second is the training and evaluation, which requires a more hands-on approach. And the last one is a final evaluation or like a final test. This is usually done by a field training officer, which tends to be a more senior officer or a trainer, for lack of a better term, or like to make it more English for people that don't understand too much. Um, the field training officer will usually take police recruit under their wing to teach them the ins and outs of the agency. They will teach them things that they do on a daily basis according to that community, because every community is different. Um, a new police officer will usually endure this kind of training with the field training officer for about 12 weeks. After the 12 weeks, they will reanalyze, see where the new police officer stands, what they've learned, and if they're ready to be on their own. In 1999, they did introduce a new form of police training, which is called the Police Training Officer Program, which they've said that it's given rise to problem-based learning. The Police Training Officer Program usually focuses more on knowledge, comprehension, the application, analysis, synthesis, and the evaluation of different situations. Um, Once a new police officer has completed their field training, that does not mean that their training is completely done. It doesn't mean that they have to learn new things. It's much like every other career choice. You will have continued education. Why is that? Because times are changing. More evident than what is happening right now. Times are changing. New things need to be learned. This could include new ways of building relationships with the victims, even the suspects, learning how to use new high valued weapons or high powered weapons, excuse me. Um, and that is called in-service training. This is the same thing as teachers who need to acquire continued education or different careers that your learning never stops. You're gonna always be in school. Once a new officer passes their field training, they are ready to be on their own, serve, and protect. That is all I have for you today, and thank you for watching. Bye.